So when I woke up this morning, I didn't expect to see this article in Politico from former DNC interim chair Donna Brazile, titled "Inside Hillary Clinton's Secret Takeover of the DNC." So, wow. Now, before I get into this article, I just want to get a quick live reaction from Bernie supporters.
I told you. What did I tell you? Didn't I tell you? 'Cause I told you. And when did I tell you? A long time ago. And what did I say will happen when I told you? Exactly what just happened.
So, I have to admit, I've been looking for a reason to use that clip, and I finally found it. Now, before I get into the article, I want to play this clip here from MSNBC this morning, where they give a quick overview of Donna Brazile's article.
Have you asked Robert the first question, but my gosh, this Donna Brazile story that Sam has alerted us to.
Donna Brazile authored a piece for Politico that was posted this morning, and it's essentially a post-mortem of what happened in the 2016 race. She was, of course, named interim chair of the DNC after Debbie Wasserman Schultz stepped aside last July. And Donna Brazile this morning destroys Debbie Wasserman Schultz, says she's responsible, and also that the Clinton campaign fully took over the process. The narrative is written around, she promised Bernie Sanders, Donna Brazile, that she'd get to the bottom of whether or not it was rigged against him, the primary process. And her conclusion effectively was, in a lot of ways, yes, it was. And she also goes on to say she would get out in the country. She didn't believe the polls. She saw no enthusiasm for Hillary Clinton. It's a little of rear end covering, but it's an explosive piece.
By the way, I can tell you, I talked to her 3 months before the campaign ended, and she was saying the same thing off the record.
Okay, so there's your quick overview. Now, it's important to mention that this piece is an excerpt from Donna Brazile's upcoming book. So she has a reason to release this now, as obviously she wants to gain attention for the release of her book next week. But with that said, it doesn't take away from anything in this piece. Now, I'm going to highlight the most important points and break them down. So let's get started. DNC chair Debbie Wasserman Schultz was not a good manager. She hadn't been very interested in controlling the party. She let Clinton's headquarters in Brooklyn do as it desired, so she didn't have to inform the party officers how bad the situation was. Officials from Hillary's campaign had taken a look at the DNC's books. Obama left the party $24 million in debt, $15 million in bank debt, and more than $8 million owed to vendors after the 2012 campaign, and had been paying that off very slowly. Hillary for America, the campaign, and the Hillary Victory Fund, its joint fundraising vehicle with the DNC, had taken care of 80% of the remaining debt in 2016, about $10 million, and had placed the party on an allowance. Okay, so the DNC during the primaries was controlled by Chair Debbie Wasserman Schultz, and the party was in terrible debt. Now, that's where the Hillary Victory Fund comes in. And you may have heard about this story before, as it was in a 2015 article in Politico titled "DNC Announces Fundraising Agreement with Clinton Campaign." Now, at the time, progressives did speak out about this, but establishment officials within the Democratic Party acted like it wasn't a big deal. But in this recent Donna Brazile piece, Donna Brazile discusses the actual agreement that she found, and here's what it said. The agreement, signed by Amy Dacey, the former CEO of the DNC, and Robbie Mook, with a copy of Mark Elias, specified that in exchange for raising money and investing in the DNC, Hillary would control the party's finances, strategy, and all the money raised. Her campaign had the right of refusal of who would be the party communications director, and it would make final decisions on all the other staff. The DNC also was required to consult with the campaign about all other staffing, budgeting, data, analytics, and mailings. Gary Gensler, the chief financial officer of Hillary's campaign, described the party as fully under the control of Hillary's campaign, which seemed to confirm the suspicions of the Bernie camp. The campaign had the DNC on life support, giving it money every month to meet its basic expenses, while the campaign was using the party as a fundraising clearinghouse. So the DNC, which is supposed to be a neutral actor during the primaries, was financially relying on the Hillary Clinton campaign, and by contrast, the Hillary campaign was relying on the DNC for fundraising because of the stipulations when it comes to campaign fundraising. Individuals who had maxed out their $2,700 contribution limit to the campaign could write an additional check for over $350,000 to the Hillary Victory Fund. The money would be deposited in the states first and then transferred to the DNC shortly after that. Money in the battleground states usually stayed in that state, but all the other states funneled that money directly to the DNC, which quickly transferred the money to Hillary's campaign in Brooklyn. So most of the money meant for the Democratic Party and state races was actually being funneled to Hillary's campaign. Now, again, we sort of knew bits and pieces of this story, but Donna Brazile, a former interim chair of the DNC, and her having the actual document, the actual agreement in front of her and discussing what was said in that document is big news. Now, why was the DNC having so much financial trouble? Well, this is how much they were spending. The burn rate was $3.5 million to $4 million a month. I gasped. I had a pretty good sense of the DNC's operations after having served as interim chair 5 years earlier. Back then, the monthly expenses were half that. What had happened? The party chair usually shrinks the staff between presidential election campaigns, but Debbie had chosen not to do that. She had stuck lots of consultants on the DNC payroll, and Obama's consultants were being financed by the DNC too. So the Democratic Party was wasting money on consultants. Now, a quick shout out to TYT reporter Nomiki Konst here, because she's one that always points this out, the wasted money on the consultant class. And I say wasted because the Democratic Party is not winning elections. They keep losing seats. So clearly these consultants that are getting paid tons of money don't know what the hell they're doing. Now, one last piece here from Donna Brazile that kind of sums everything up. The funding arrangement with the Hillary Victory Fund and the Victory Fund agreement was not illegal, but it sure looked unethical. If the fight had been fair, one campaign would not have control of the party before the voters had decided which one they wanted to lead. This was not a criminal act, but as I saw it, it compromised the party's integrity. So while these shady dealings behind the scenes may have not been criminal, they were clearly unethical. And they also clearly rigged the primary in favor of Hillary Clinton over Bernie Sanders, and really over anybody else that would have challenged her. Now, I think it's important to mention here that Donna Brazile also played a part in this. So she is part of the Democratic establishment, which is why this piece is such a big deal. But she released a town hall question to the Hillary Clinton campaign during the primary against Bernie Sanders. Now, that's a problem. But she did come out and admit that and apologize for it. And she has now also come out and really uncovered the real corruption here at the DNC. So while it's easy to hold a grudge, I think it's more productive to be open-minded. And if these establishment figures are willing to admit their faults, come out and reveal the truth, and actually join the winning side, then I'm totally open to it. Because to actually win these elections, we have to be open to these voters who may have not voted with us before. But now if they're willing to expose this kind of corruption and really come clean and face what the Democratic Party needs to actually do to start winning elections, then I'm all for it.